So the old dog, who had the fun of playing against the former teammates. Young 0 for 4 yesterday, was robbed of a hit by Felipe Lopez. Nubs one halfway to the mound. Molina picks it up and throws too late. If you give Randy 3 runs or more, he's really trouble. Meanwhile, Orlando Hudson hits it into the seats in left field, and it's 1-0 Dodgers. Orlando Hudson hit it into the seats alongside the Dodger bullpen inside the left field foul pole. And for the O-Dog, he shakes him up. For call ready to go. And the pitch is whacked into the gap in left center. Here is Fakal on to third. The ball gets to the wall, so Fakal will score on a double by Hudson. 5-1 Dodgers. And smoke down the right field line. That's going to be in there and roll to the wall. And the O-Dog is loose. He is around second. He is on his way to third. The throw, he is in there. He has just hit for the cycle. And now the first cycle by a Dodger since Wes Parker in 1970.
The O-Dog is loose. Oh my goodness, it just makes me smile whenever I hear the great Vin Scully describe Orlando Hudson as the O-Dog. Calling a cycle is not easy. Sometimes it can sneak up on you. There are certain cycles that we will always remember. And for my broadcast partner, Jesse Goldberg-Strassler, he will never forget his most recent one. Hi, everyone. Welcome to Crafting the Call. I'm Josh Suchon with the Albuquerque Isotopes.
And I'm Jesse Goldberg-Strassler with the Lansing Lugnuts. And this has been a second emergency Crafting the Call called to order because, Josh, you had the play that made national news, the Minor League Baseball Play of the Week. And I would argue that I just saw the Minor League Baseball Performance of the Week, and it was achieved in Lansing, Michigan. And for this, I'm going to call in the opposition broadcaster because this was for his team, Jaden Taylor, calling the game for the Fort Wayne TinCaps because Leo De Vries, the San Diego Padres' #1 prospect, achieved a rather singular sort of cycle. Jaden, had you seen anything like this before in your life?
Not at all. I mean, it was just an incredible evening all around. I mean, again, the cycle was one thing. The game to back it up was just incredible. 9-2 down early, 11 unanswered runs. And again, it had to come down to Leo De Vries to win it in the end. Of course, adding off and capping off the cycle with the triple. I mean, it was just an incredible performance all around, and the TinCaps needed every bit of Leo De Vries' performance.
So, Josh, here's what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
That we'll play my calls, we can break them down, then we'll go back and we'll check out how Jaden called it. Leo De Vries, by the way, his nickname is El Mutante, so hence, this is the mutant cycle.
Okay, before we watch and compare and contrast, what else, for people who don't know who Leo is, give us the snapshot of what type of prospect he is. Give us some background about who it is that we're about to watch.
Yeah, so Leo is the #1 international prospect this past year, signed in 2024 in January, $4.2 million. It was 90% of the international prospect money that the Padres had to bring him in. Second straight year, the Padres got the #1 guy in their international system. And, the Padres look right now overall with their system, so many guys that have been traded this past year to get their, big league club bag and ready to go in the playoffs. Leo's been the big name, and just an 18-year-old, the youngest player in all of High A. He was in the Fall League this past October at the first Fall League home run, at least by a 17-year-old since Bryce Harper back in 2010. I mean, there's been so much hype about El Mutante, what he was going to be, all the hype that brought around him. Switch hitting shortstop, #17 prospect in all of baseball. He finds the gaps really well. Honestly, the power wasn't always the big thing looking at him specifically. Had the pop, but just the bat-to-ball skills were going to be the next step for him of just how he can grow to get to the next level. And how he played yesterday was a big reason why. I mean, he's been an incredible bat. He's been a great glove over at short. He has all the tools necessary. Still a young kid, just 18 years old, barely turned 18 this past October. He's got a bright future, and he showed why last night.
All right, who are we starting with, Jesse? We're starting with your call?
Sure. Let's start with my call, and then we can finish with Jaden.
Okay.
Against Wisconsin, it delivers. De Vries hits it high and deep out to right field. Jared Dickey is on the run, but that ball's gone. Leo De Vries cranks his second homer of the year, and the TinCaps lead 1-0. He hit it above LaFevre, the digital billboard out in right center, right before
the 0-1. That's popped out to left center field. Hit well. Green is going back. He looks up, and that thing is off the Miller Lite sign and carry him back to center. De Vries has lost his helmet as that baseball is lost out in the outfield for a double.
It's 9-2 Locos. And there's a high drive, deep right field. It is on its way and gone. It is a 2-homer game for Leo De Vries, who is 3 for 3 with 3 extra base hits and now 3 RBIs. Here's the break even. Line drive, right field, base hit De Vries once more. In comes Sanabria. Butterworth is on his heels. To third base rushes Durfee. A 2-run single for De Vries. Hammered to right, into the corner, and off the wall. Difficult carom for Dickey. A triple means the cycle. 2 runs are going to score. Stop sign at third for De Vries. He has cycled Fort Wayne into the lead. A 2-run, 2-out triple in the top of the 9th. And it's 15-13 TinCaps. Leo De Vries has knocked in 8 runs.
All right, Jesse, that was your voice, also your broadcast partner. Let's start with you breaking down your own performance.
Well, we got a little Pacific Coast League action.
Yes,
in the
we
Midwest,
did.
didn't we? Lansing went up 9-2. Fort Wayne scored 11 unanswered runs. That's not enough. Lansing scores 4 in the bottom of the 8th inning. So 2 outs in the 9th. That triple is needed. Fort Wayne goes up by 2, and they hang on for a 15-14 win. De Vries drives in 8. And if he didn't drive in 1, we're playing extras. Lansing might walk off with a stirring victory. The last home game that the Lugnuts had played, they had won 12-11. So this is a gigantic game, and it's a gigantic necessary game that finishes dramatically. What occurred to me first and I want to go to the final call, because this it related to me when you and I, Josh, were calling the Inside the Park home run episode. Mm-hmm. We were saying, how do you call an Inside the Park home run? Well, you have to pick up the batter and you have to find them. But at the same time, you also have to indicate what's happened to the ball. And so I treated it the same way. Here's the drive, difficult carom, and now I'm going to pick him up. And I've got to make it clear that he needs the triple for the cycle. So we are going for the triple here. I probably should not have said stop sign, but I've got the stop sign there just to make sure the coach is going to stop him, and it's not going to be an inside the park home run. All the while, he isn't actually the most important part of the play, because I would argue that the most important part of the play within the game is 2 runs are scoring to give Fort Wayne the lead with 2 outs in the 9th inning. So I had a lot that I'm going, what matters most here? Here's the ball bouncing. Here's De Vries running. Here's these 2 runs scoring. It's the cycle. What's the next score? There's a lot that's going on, and I'm wondering how you would order all of that information.
Well, I think that goes to show that we are usually our own worst critics, because I didn't even hear you say anything about stop sign. I'm focused on your phrase difficult carom, which I'm totally going to steal because that is just a perfect 2-word way to immediately let the audience know what's happening. And now you can get to the next thing. And I absolutely loved that you said cycled into the lead. That is beautiful phrasing, Jesse. I think you crushed it with the final call. So yeah, like I don't even know what to say other than you just crushed it.
Well, and this is what, and we're about to hear Jaden's call. I would challenge us as broadcasters. I would say with the cycle, it is so important before the at-bat. This is what this player needs for the cycle. And then in the moment, if we can possibly fit in, and that way it's no surprise. And the reason why I say this is the last cycle that I had the chance to call, it ended on a triple. And I'm picking up the pieces. I'm writing it down on my scorecard. It's a triple. It comes with this many outs in this inning. Here's the new score. Did he cycle? Oh, it's a cycle. I was very late in recognizing, oh, wow, that was a cycle right there. And I think that we can be earlier than that.
Yeah, to me, there's something really when the final leg of the cycle needs to be the triple, it's the hardest leg to get. And so I think there's an inherent drama that you can try to build up. But in the back of your mind, you're going, yeah, but it's the hardest one to get. Right. So that's why when someone does end the cycle with a triple, it makes it that much more dramatic. And the fact that this gave Fort Wayne the lead makes it even more dramatic and interesting all at the same time.
Let me add this layer onto it. I have at the front of my mind this whole game. I'm calling this game on Bally Live and MILB TV. Leo De Vries is the batter. Every single good thing that he does is going to get clipped and shared by somebody. And it might be Baseball America. It might be minor league baseball. It might be this Padres network. So I need to make sure that these calls, that there's energy there, that I'm calling them in a neutral manner, not pro lug nuts, not super over the top, that it's the sort of thing that's professional because somebody somewhere is going to see it and I'm going to want to put my name behind it.
Jaden, before we get to your call, why don't you break down what you heard, what you liked, from Jesse's call?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing, same thing with you. I mean, cycling into the lead was the best phrase at the back end of that last call. I mean, the phrasing was great. The timing was great. It didn't feel rushed at all into the big call. I think you'll hear mine. I think I might have been a little bit too big for the moment on my final call of feeling that oh my goodness, this is going to happen in that type of setup. So being able to be ready for that moment and connected for that moment when, it got around and just, carrying into right field and bouncing around out there, you finally have that chance. And I think the big thing that I oversaw too is that, again, like you said, Jesse, that wasn't even the biggest moment of the game. That wasn't the biggest moment of really overall that play in general, it being a triple, just the 2 runs coming home to score in the 9th inning and everything that meant. So being able to bring all that together and encompass truthfully what that moment was, more than just the 3rd cycle in franchise history, more than just a triple into the corner, but truthfully a play that just capped off what was one of the wildest games that I've seen in a long time.
Also, I want to give credit for the microphone placement. The whack off the bat and all of the clips was outstanding. So I want to give a shout out. Well done with the mixing of the natural sound.
That's my guy Adam Jackson. He takes pride in that.
Yes. All right. Now let's get to Jaden's call here.
At Jackson Field, De Vries skies one deep to right field, chasing back Dickey, still going back at the track. Goodbye. Leo De Vries has his 2nd long ball of the season, dropping it onto the Berman right, and it's quickly 1-0 Fort Wayne. Oh, 1. Skied to left center field. Racing back Rodney Green Jr. at the wall. It's off the top of the wall. Another extra base hit for Leo De Vries. He's got a 2-out double. 1 white sleeve on the backhand. He drives this ball deep to right field. You can kiss it goodbye. Leo De Vries with a no-doubter. His 2nd home run of the ball game. And the TinCaps are back in it. Get a 2-2. De Vries, line shot, right center field, base hits. Sanabria comes home to score. Butterworth around 3rd. The TinCaps are right back in it. 2-run single for Leo De Vries. And it's a 1-run ball game.
2-0. Shot down the right field line. Into the corner off the wall. It'll go pinballing around in right field. And 2 runs are going to come home to score. It's a cycle for Leo De Vries. Up on a 3rd with a 2-run triple. And the TinCaps take a 15-13 lead. history for Fort Wayne. Leo De Vries has his first cycle as a professional baseball player. Leo De Vries, the third cycle in franchise history. 5 for 5 tonight with 8 ribbies, 2 long balls, and the rest to add on to it. First TinCaps cycle since August 27th of 2018 by Gabriel Arias, a current major leaguer.
All right, bravo. Well done, Jaden. I liked it a lot. Break down your own performance. What do you like? What would you do differently if you could?
Yeah, I think the two biggest things to improve upon were, one, a little bit of passive voice on those first 2 calls on the home run and the double with the outfielders going the actual motion before the player on the back end. So having active voice on those calls in the first end, I think, was the biggest thing to improve there. I think, again, with that final call in the 9th, I think the bigger moment to me, even though the cycle was big, was the fact that this was going to be a go-ahead triple into the corner. So I think I prioritized the 2 runs coming home to score. That did have me pick up Leo late, and that's something that I should have added earlier on, of getting him, that he was around second and heading to third, especially being on radio at that point, of picking up Leo a little bit earlier within the play. I funny enough, felt pinballing was decent in the corner. I had actually heard it from a guy who used to be in this same role, and Jack McMullen, who called it like an hour and a half earlier on a call I'd heard on the Marlins radio network, funny enough. And just, that's what popped in my head. But overall, I think, big for the moments. I think it was, I think comparatively to being on MLB TV or being on Bally, I think, more of a hometown call. Not anything too crazy, not anything too homerish, but I felt getting a little bit bigger for the, fans in Fort Wayne that are, sitting in their cars listening to it. Definitely wouldn't have been as much excitement, I think, if it was on TV. But I think with that moment for the radio listeners at home, the excitement was, I think, where it needed to be at.
I'll say this for both of you guys. If I didn't know who your employer was, who you're primarily calling the games for, I would not have known. I would not have known if you're calling the game for Lansing, for Fort Wayne, if it was straight down the middle. I would not have known one way or the other. And I think it's a credit to your professionalism that it wasn't over the top one way or the other way. So I think bravo to both of you.
I mean, the one thing that really tilts toward Jaden is he's got the history. And this is something, Josh, that you and I have talked about, is understanding the proper context when you see something extraordinary. So Jaden is ready at that moment to say, 3rd cycle in Fort Wayne TinCaps franchise history. Last player to do it is currently in the major leagues. Here's when he did it. Here's who it is. So I think the ability to add to that really cements, this is the Fort Wayne call. Let's look back and let's appreciate what we just witnessed.
The other thing that I would add is I thought Jaden, I thought your voice was rising at the appropriate level throughout the course of the 5 different hits, right? You don't want to be too high for a home run early in the game, right? We always like to say, save something for the 9th inning, right? Save something for September, save something for October. So I actually thought that you could hear your voice rising where you could say, it's a 1-run game, right? With each of these hits. And now you're peaking at the level that you should be peaking for a game in April, which is this dramatic back and forth contest. 15-14 ends up being the final score. So I appreciated the way that it didn't go like this, right? It went the way that I would want it to rise.
Let me add 2 different things, Jaden, 2 different moments of critique. The first is, we don't call him Jack McMullen. We call him Jack McMarlin. The second item is this, and I think this is important, that when he gets to 3rd, as you're calling it, you've got the 2 runs scoring, and then you say it's a cycle for Leo De Vries, and then your phrase after that is, he's at 3rd, 2 runs have scored, here's the new score. And if this was a Word document, I think we could Control X, Control V. And if we simply finish off the call of the play, so pinballed, 2 runs score, De Vries to 3rd, he's knocked in 2, it's a triple, pause, it's a cycle. Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So we finish off the call of the action. Now the action has stopped. And now that the action has stopped, this is your moment that you can take your breath and you can say, it's a cycle. Here's the score. Here's the historical context behind all of this.
Yeah, I think, I mean, that was the biggest thing. I think overall, I think I got into the moment of, okay, here's the moment he's at third and trying to fully encapsulate that. And, like I said earlier, a little late to getting to Leo of just pinpointing him and realize he's like halfway already to third and went into the moment. So, definitely in that spot, taking the step back, especially again, like you said, on radio too, of having a little bit more time to build that was definitely a thing I could have improved upon in that moment.
Well, forget the improve upon of the moment, because to my mind, this is all about looking ahead. But first, I want to look all the way back. And Vin Scully and the way that he called the O-Dog. And Josh, this leads into the larger point, and maybe we'll do a whole show about cycles. We as broadcasters, we recognize in the moment, this is going to be a cycle. It's not me, the last cycle, where it took me 5 seconds to realize it. In general, we know. And the question is, for me, I used cycled into the lead. But what is the proper moment to integrate cycle into the play-by-play?
Honestly, I think it all depends upon the game, right? I mean, if it's 10-2, then the story is that it's the cycle, right? When it's 15-14, the primary story is that this team is in the lead now. The first cycle that I called, the batter needed a triple. It was a catcher. And sure enough, he got it, right? And so I think my call, I punctuated it with, it's a triple, it's a cycle. And then the second one I called, which was the next year, but early the next year, so it was like 21 games apart. It was one of these base hit to center, throw goes home, runner is going to second. Wait, is he going to second on the throw, or is it being counted as a double? And I just made the decision, I'm just going to play official scorekeeper and declare it a cycle in the moment. And if the official scorekeeper says something different, okay, whatever, that's fine. I'd rather be wrong for my excitement than be like, well, it's hold on, we got to wait. No, I just wanted to just lay into it and just give my opinion about it immediately.
I did that. We had a cycle here back in 2018. There was a fly ball to left. The batter needed a double. The left fielder butchered it, and the batter ended up on second. And I go, let's call it a cycle until proven otherwise. Jaden, how many cycles have you now called in your broadcast career?
That was the first. Yeah, I've not called a cycle before, not called a performance like that before. I have called, again, that was an 8 RBI game. I've called a 9 RBI game before for Sam Harris, who is currently a big first baseman for Duke.
For both of you guys, when Leo comes to bat in that last at bat, needing the cycle, I'm curious if it was the first pitch of the at bat or whether either one of you were able to set it up and say, he homered here, he doubled in this inning, he homered in this inning, he singled in this inning, and now he just needs a triple. Did you have enough time to kind of like really get into exactly pinpointing what he had done before the at bat?
Yeah, I mean, I'll probably take it first. Yeah, I luckily did. It was, I got to go back to listen to it, but I think it was something sort of, the story couldn't end better than this, was kind of the lead up to it, of Leo stepping up to the plate and taking the long walk to the lefty's batter's box. And I think it was a very similar style of how it ended, where I went 5 for 5. I think at that point it was, 4 for 4. With a double, 2 home runs, 6 ribbies, and he's a triple away from the cycle. And that was kind of the lead up to it. And then I think, I forgot what it was. I think it was either a 1-1 pitch or a 1-0 pitch to have it be the triple under the corner. So luckily had enough time to be able to build that in. And Leo, that we've seen already, likes the big moments. I'm not sure if anybody read the article from MLB Pipeline. Lucas Ray, our manager, last night pretty much called him Michael Jordan. You tell him he can't do something, he's going to do it, and he's going to show you why. So he knew the moment was there, 100%. He took the long walk up to that spot in the on deck circle, and then up into the box. So he was ready for that spot. So it definitely helped give me a little more time to lead things in.
Josh, let me add 2 details. The first is that this was his second opportunity to go for the cycle, because 2 innings earlier, he had delivered a deep sacrifice fly out to left field. So we've already had the chance, and Jaden, not to speak for you, but I think both of us have had the chance to set things up. So now as he's coming up into the 9th inning, here we go. Let's reset the scenario. It's 2 outs and it's 2 on, and he takes ball 1, and then he takes ball 2. So now you're feeling as a broadcaster, this is about to be a hitter's pitch.
I like it. I like it a lot. Some of the phrases that I like to use in these moments right before the stage is set or the script is written, just kind of, I don't know why, it's like a theatrical moment is what I think about in my mind. And so I think about if this was a movie, if this was a play, these are the types of phrases that you might say. So yeah, I mean, congrats to Leo, congrats to both you guys, because I look at it this way. We know that Leo had one heck of a day. And for whoever was listening, you want to make sure that you as the broadcaster give his day justice with your words, with your explanation of things, with your proper level of excitement and phrases. And I think you guys both did it. So bravo.
I think I got caught up in it earlier on in the game. If you listen to my 2-run single, I trip over my words at the end because I'm already starting to think, oh my goodness, this is a massive game. How do I find the words for it? And then I relaxed by the end. And so by the time it's the end, it really is I'm along for this historic ride. Jaden, how did you feel? Were you relaxed as you're calling all of this?
I mean, to be honest with you, even with the triple, I think my biggest call of the day was probably Jose Sanabria's 3-run, just absolute moonshot. I mean, it was 391 feet, went out pretty much out of the ballpark on one hop. Sanabria was 1 for 17 coming into the game. I mean, he was a guy that it was kind of off and on the bench, was trying to find some more playing time and got another start yesterday, the 3-run bomb. That's probably honestly when I was at the highest, even more so than the cycle, just because what that moment was of 11 unanswered, the lead back, and just the way that encapsulated everything. I think just with the craziness of that entire game and being solo on the call of just having to, not lose my mind by myself the entire time.
Or lose your voice.
Pretty much, yeah. And I think I was calling for a game like that just because, going to Arizona State, you'll see in May, a lot of times, late April and early May, you call it Mooney bombs. With it being that hot and being that dry, the ball just absolutely flies at Arizona State. So especially on a Sunday afternoon, I had 2 of these last year to where it was 17-13 and 14-10. Like you are used to just, it's the 8th inning. It's a 6-run game. There's no way this is done yet because 1, is the pitching going to hold up? 2, anything in the air has a chance. So I think that kind of helped prepare me for crazy games like this. And, what that kind of performance was of 33 combined hits between the 2 teams. So I think it helped me a little bit of being ready for the moment and being calm throughout the day. And then again, as you mentioned, just kind of rising throughout those specific calls.
All right, Jesse, take us home. What else?
Usually in the Midwest League in April, it's to freezing. But yeah, it's warming up right now. This emergency meeting of Crafting the Call is now adjourned. Josh, thank you for taking the time.
I love these emergency editions. I wake up in the morning, I see a text from Jesse that says we need to get on this. And I'm like, all right, let's go. And so Jaden, thanks for joining us. And what a call by both of you guys. Way to go.
7 times in Major League Baseball history, players hit for the cycle with 2 home runs. This is something that does not happen, let alone to win the game, let alone by an 18-year-old who knocks in 8. So wild. Jaden Taylor calling the game for the Fort Wayne TinCaps. I'm Jesse Goldberg-Strassler with the Lansing Lugnuts.
And I'm Josh Suchon with the Albuquerque Isotopes. Thank you for watching Crafting the Call. We'll talk to you again next time.